Mario Tennis is a series of sports games that features many of the iconic characters and locations from all across the Super Mario franchise and brings them all together for a rousing game of tennis. It's in the name. The Mario Tennis games are actually surprisingly fun, with most entries featuring a significant amount of polish, a large and diverse cast of characters, and an overwhelming quantity of personality and heart. They are also not the topic of today's video. Instead, we will be talking about Sega Superstars Tennis, a crossover sports game featuring not only the iconic characters and locations from Sega's premier franchise, but from well over a dozen beloved Sega franchises, such as Super Monkey Ball, Jet Set Radio, and House of the Dead. Want to see something funny? Here is the list of Sega franchises represented in Sega Superstars Tennis. And here is the list of franchises that have had a new game in the past 10 years. Here's to hoping that this bit ages poorly. Sega Superstars Tennis is both lower in quality and significantly less popular than Mario Tennis, with a smaller cast of characters, shallower mechanics, and its status as little more than a footnote in the Sega All-Stars franchise. A franchise that, by the way, has one of the weirdest lineups I have ever had the pleasure of witnessing. A lineup of games that also includes an Xbox Connect minigame compilation and 2 racing games. So, why are we talking about Sega Superstars Tennis instead of the higher quality and infinitely more popular Mario Tennis series? Because this one has Sonic in it and he go fast, zoom! But also because I'm kind of obsessed with this stupid ass game and I don't really understand why. The core gameplay loop of Sega Superstars Tennis mainly consists of running back and forth across your side of the court and hitting the ball back at your opponent. There are multiple techniques for returning the ball to your opponent's side of the field, a system for aiming the ball as you swing your racket, motion controls on the Wii version, and a unique special shot for each character that really shows off their individual quirks and personalities. Now, these are all pretty standard for a mascot tennis game, so it's not like the gameplay is anything unique or groundbreaking, but you also kind of have to remember that it's tennis. A game that exists in real life. There really isn't a ton you can do to make the gameplay stand out when compared to its contemporaries.
And it's not like you really have to.
The gameplay just works. The game is fun, it's functional, it's challenging and engaging. It doesn't have to be some insane reinvention of the wheel because this is exactly what people are expecting when they hear the word tennis. But also, it's not like anyone's actually playing this game for the tennis. What are they playing for, you ask? Why, for the crossover, of course. Everyone loves a good crossover. Now, crossovers aren't really anything new. Any company with a large enough cast of characters and franchises has undoubtedly taken part in the massive cash cow that is the art of the crossover. Nintendo has Super Smash Bros., the MCU has Infinity War and Endgame, DC Comics has the Justice League, and Disney has an entire cinematic universe. For some fucking reason. So crossovers aren't exactly a novel concept, and Sega Superstars Tennis isn't exactly an S-tier example of the trope, but it's still really cool to see all of these beloved Sega franchises coming together and being celebrated. I mean, where else can you see Sonic the Hedgehog facing off against Shadow or Dr. Eggman? Okay, fair point. But in tennis? Fuck you. But jokes aside, the crossover is still really cool, especially now that 15 years have passed and the majority of these franchises are either dead, dying, or forgotten. It's like a goofy little time capsule that exists to remind us of a long forgotten time period where Sega actually cared about games like Samba de Amigo, Knights, and Space Channel 5. A time period where Sega still had a diverse and extensive lineup of active franchises, instead of just Sonic and Yakuza with the occasional Super Monkey Ball remake or Puyo Puyo spinoff. Not that I don't love Sonic, Yakuza, Monkey Ball, and Puyo Puyo. I just wish that some of Sega's other franchises could get some love every once in a while. I also wish that the game had come out a few years later so that Yakuza could have been popular enough to make the cut. It would have been really funny to absolutely decimate those stupid ass monkeys as the Dame Dene guy and his gay little boyfriend. Oh, here's a fun fact that doesn't really fit anywhere in the video. Did you know that Sega Superstars Tennis was originally released on the PS2, PS3, Xbox 360, Wii, and Nintendo DS in 2008 before eventually receiving a release on the Mac in 2013? For some reason. That by itself is already really weird, but it also never got a release on traditional PCs. Because gaming on a Mac was just the future, I guess. Moving on. The game itself is actually surprisingly difficult, with a very small margin of error for hitting the ball, and the AI isn't exactly interested in helping. Even on easier difficulties, the bots present a surprising amount of challenge, and on harder difficulties, I'm lucky if I manage to score even a single point. So if you're wondering why I haven't unlocked all the characters yet, well, now you know. But I've only been playing for a few days, so I'm sure I'll figure it out eventually. It's just really hard. Manageable, but hard. But if you want to talk about some real finger cramping difficulty, may I direct you to the minigames? Sega Superstars Tennis boasts a large and diverse lineup of minigames inspired by beloved Sega franchises. You can collect rings like in Sonic the Hedgehog, spray paint on public property like in Jet Set Radio, pop some Poyos like in Puyo Puyo, and experience what it's like to live in America like in Virtua Squad. The minigames are all very fun and creative, and they do a great job of paying homage to the franchises they are meant to represent. They are also where the majority of the game's personality and difficulty come from. Believe me when I say that these minigames are incredibly difficult, almost to the point of being downright unfair, and in some cases, they are in direct conflict with the game's core mechanics and controls, which isn't exactly surprising given that this is technically a 3D Sonic game released in the 2000s. But it is pretty annoying. Especially since a lot of them are required to complete the game's single-player campaign and unlock all of the characters and stages. Some of these minigames feel downright impossible at higher difficulties, and it is infuriating. I don't think I have ever been angrier at a video game than I was on my billionth attempt at beating Sonic Dodgeball at 2 a.m. That's not even a joke. This game makes me toxic as fuck. It's like League of Legends, but for people who actually go outside. But unlike League of Legends, I actually really like this game, and I'm consistently having fun every time I play it. My awful fucking cat has been scratching at the door, so we're gonna finish the video with her in my arms. Nope, stay, hold still. Also, is it just no, you love me, no, you love me, okay, she escaped. So yeah, that's Sega Superstars Tennis, a game that definitely exists. Sure, it's goofy, a tad cliche, kind of stupid, stinks of corporate mandates, and had to change the name of House of the Dead to avoid getting banned in Germany. But it's also a lot of fun, surprisingly well made, engaging enough to keep me playing till 4 a.m. the day before a camping trip, full of personality, and it's a beautiful monument to the history of a titan of the gaming industry. A history that has all but been forgotten in recent years. I mean, seriously. Other than die-hard Yakuza fans, can you name a single person born after 1999 who has even heard of Space Harrier or Outrun? The game is far from perfect, but for all its flaws, I can't help but love everything it's trying to be. And I think I'm starting to understand exactly why I've been so obsessed with it these past few days. Also, is it just me, or is it kinda weird that Virtua Tennis does not make an appearance in Sega's one and only tennis crossover game? That's right, I know things about Sega.